Good morning. It's Brian here. It is the Art of Startup War. You are in for a huge treat today. I believe this is one of the best companies that we have over at Expert Dojo. We made an investment into Lincode in the absolute knowledge that this is going to be a unicorn. Like we know, we have an entrepreneur who's done this 3 times already. They've had 3 successful exits. We have a company which is absolutely perfectly positioned in an industry that desperately needs this type of technology right now. And we have a market movement which has taken us to a place where everything is turning into remote automation, being able to anticipate things that are going to happen and be able to create solutions before the problems even occur. And that, my friends, is what Lincode does. So welcome, Raj. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Wonderful. And think of the next 30 or 35 minutes as a conversation with investors about the upside of the company, but at the same time, trying to help them understand as much as possible about where the value is and how it's going to grow, because obviously that's what investors are looking for. But
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
if you start off with maybe a fuller explanation of Lincode and what it represents and why this is so important to you, why you believe this is going to be the big one.
Yeah, absolutely. So in Lincode is primarily focused on defect detection in the manufacturing companies. So we actually started this journey from the customer's point of view. So we didn't start a product and then we went for a product market fit. We actually went the other way around. So we went to the manufacturers, wore their shoes, and looked at the factory and said, what are their challenges? And we heard that the number one challenge for them was quality inspections. So this sentiment was, common across the US manufacturing companies as well as in the European industry. Just for our understanding, we went to Europe, manufacturers as well, and asked them like, what are their challenges? And it was similar to what we heard here. And so that was a start for us. And then, we wanted to actually fix this solution problem by looking at every aspect of it, like what is the tech that they use, what is the alternate thing that other companies are doing to solve this, and what are the other AI aspects they are looking at it, what is the developments in the AI. We looked at all the 360-degree aspects of this, and then we started building the product right into the manufacturing floor. That gave us an idea about how we should go about it and solve it, basically. That's how it all started.
Wonderful. And I think before we dig into what you built, because it's going to be the exciting piece, I want to give our audience a flavor as to your qualities and the quality of the team that you've actually built. So can you speak a little bit to your background and a bit to all of the other folks in the team and what you bring to the table? And most importantly, what qualified you before you even found out what the problem was to know that this is something that you'd be able to fix?
Yeah, sure. So I started my career in 2001, and I primarily was, into the data center management. I was working for various distributors of setting up data centers or data center components. And I've traveled globally. I worked in Texas, I worked in Norway, I worked in Singapore and Middle East. I've set up data centers across the globe, and I've been part of data center components as well. And I had an opportunity to work on the cybersecurity aspects and also on the Linux kernels, actually. So I've worked in too deep into the Linux kernels as well, and that really helped me understand, various aspects of the product or a product lifecycle, right from the scratch levels of Linux kernels up till the application layer. So that really helped me understand the whole life cycle of a software product. And after that, I got an opportunity to start a company in 2006. That was my first entrepreneurial journey, and it was for a Texas company which wanted to outsource their software services. So we started off as a services company, and that was the journey for me as an entrepreneur. And then I started multiple companies after that for various reasons, like we got strategic exits at a different time of the startup company.
But when you let me stop you there. So because you raced past that, but it's a very special moment, right? Your first exit. You
Mhm.
took something that didn't exist before, you brought it out to market without much knowledge of kind of what the rest of the journey was going to look like, and you got yourself an exit. How did that feel?
You're talking about my first exit?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, it was very exciting, and it was also kind of a nervous moment for me whether I'm doing the right thing, or am I doing, I asked myself a lot of questions, but it was really exciting thing for me to have the first exit. And the first exit was even more sweeter for me because I didn't have any investors or any kind of a baggage for me. So it was basically, it's all my own team members, and then I could give a very good equity to my whole team, and they
Nice.
really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Nice. That's beautiful. And it speaks so much to you and your credibility as somebody who executes what they say they're going to. So then you took what you had made from that, you shared with your team, you bootstrapped it all the way, which again, I have nothing but respect for people who are able to do that. And then you went for the second company. And what was so special about the problem facing the second company?
Yeah, so this was very unique. So this was a telecom company based out of San Jose, and they were building silicon chip for the telecom industry, and they were facing a problem about having a huge OS fitting into their small chipsets,
Hmm.
and they had problem selling them, and also they were concerned about the security aspects. So this is where my experience with Linux kernels really came into picture, and I love hands-on Linux. And I actually built a OS for this particular company, and I had to use external consultant for the security aspect. Like I was sure, like how I can solve the security layer, but we wanted to use AI at that point. So this was in 2014, and the AI was very new, and we wanted to use the AI layer to detect the man in the middle and sync flood kind of attacks basically. So these are the two things that we were trying to solve with AI and the Linux kernels. And we did crack that, and we filed a patent on that in 2014. And so we got acquired in 2016.
So 2 for 2 so far.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
that's right.
good, right? And
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
you came out again, and because you're addicted to this, you came back in for another round.
Yeah, absolutely. So once we got an exit, it was kind of a forced exit, I would say, because the company, the product that we were building was for a specific IP and specific company, and they were actually getting acquired, so they asked us to sell the whole thing. So we didn't think twice, and we got an exit in that, and then we went for the third one. So this time it was not a planned software, a product or a planned company or something. We wanted to help somebody with, a CRM product. So they were setting up their own CRM. They asked us like, can you help me with this? And when I was trying to help them out, and they said that they were using Salesforce CRM with Pardot, and at that point, Salesforce had just acquired Pardot, and it was not very easy integration. So they had to redo a lot of stuff in Pardot again, and it was not, they were not finding it easier, and also it was taking a long time. And they were sending out some 100,000 emails a month to their stockholders, and they wanted to make sure that capture a lot of insights about the emails and how the emails is received, and what all the areas their stockholders are interested in, and so many insights. So we tried to use the open source, and in the open source, the newsletter aspects was not really good, and there was no tightly integrated plugins available. So that's when we thought that it could be an opportunity, and also we saw an opportunity with the AI because we used in the security aspects. We thought it will be really helpful for the CRM industry as well. That's when my consultant who helped me in the previous company, we both together started this new company, and it was a product. We started with the product as a company basically, and we built a plugin for this open source CRM, and that was really helpful. And we could actually sell the plugin part, and then we used to tell the customers that you download the open source CRM and you set it up. we will just give you the plugin, and that way it's easy for you to go about and start using it. So we went 300 customers within 4 or 5 months in launching the product. And
Wow.
since we didn't see a big aspects in that, like we thought it could be always gonna be a price war. Once everybody gets to know, there was not big a competitive advantage, and it was completely bootstrapped again, and we didn't have major funding or major investment. So we just had a couple of employees from my first exit working for us, and another couple of guys. So only 4 or 5 member team it was, and we just built the product, and we didn't even have the sales team basically. So we just had direct customers and word of mouth, and we were going viral with that, and that was enough. And since we didn't have much of money put in this, like we were having great revenue, and we were breaking even from the third month of launching the product. So we were happy to exit at exit immediately in a year's time. So we got a good offer from one of a Fremont-based company. So we thought it's a good opportunity, and we took an exit.
Wonderful. And I want to talk in a minute about what makes this current one the big one. What makes this the one that you're intentionally raising money for? What makes this the one that you believe is going to be scaled faster than anyone you've ever had before? What makes this the one that you are not going to accept an acquisition offer on? And what makes this one the one that is going to become a multi-billion-dollar company? But before we run into this, I want to just explain a little bit about why I've spent a couple of minutes extra looking at Raj's background and staying there. Because at the end of the day, this is a court of law, right? And the court of law won't be innocent or guilty. The court of law is, will we raise an awful lot of money, or will we raise a little bit of money? Because when you go into the world of venture capitalists, everything moves from I am starting, building, and growing a phenomenal company to I am starting and building and growing a phenomenal methodology to raise money. The stronger the company gets, the more money that you raise. The more money you raise, the stronger the company gets. It's a very, very, very different game than just building up a company and getting a company to high levels and being able to exit before. So if we look at what we've just gone through with Raj a couple of moments ago, in a court of law, what we have established is character. We have established that this entrepreneur has the ability to win every single time, not 2 out of 3, not 1 out of 3. What we've also established is that as he exits each time, he's getting ready for the big one, the one that he's going to go all the way, the one that nobody's going to be able to take from him. If this is the big one, if this is that one that he's going after, which will be his legacy in this world, then every investor on the planet should be in on this. Even if this isn't the big one, you're still going to win, right? Because you have someone who's 3 for 3. So now I want to take that and dig straight into, how do we know this is the big one? And I don't just mean from a mindset perspective, I mean from a product fit perspective. Talk us through this, Raj.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we got acquired in our third one, that's when we decided, AI has a very, very big footprint, and it's going to be the future. So we really wanted to, utilize AI to the max to the, specific industry. So we started our company in a stealth mode in 2017, September, October-ish. And we actually went about understanding what all the top 10 challenges. So before we could do that, we actually got an opportunity to work for a healthcare manufacturer who were producing incubators for all the neonatal ICUs, basically. So they wanted to monitor all the, premature babies, because premature babies have a different color skin in their, skin, and if they have some trouble, the skin color changes. So we actually put a camera and we were monitoring the color changes, and we were successful in that. And this company from Germany, they were very happy to take this forward. But one thing, what our team, our inside team was actually looking at, and they said, fine, we are solving this, but what do you think as the longevity of this? And we didn't want to again, do a small exit or something. We really wanted to have a big company made or a big product made. So we thought that it could be easily, anybody, any competition can take over, and there is nothing really big about this in terms of opportunity. So then, we didn't want to pursue that, and we went for the next identifying what's going to be next again. And then we went to the retail industry. We got an opportunity in the Silicon Valley to go into a retail outlet, and they had a requirement like, they had existing cameras. So all we had to do was look for the footfalls, what kind of footfalls are going to be in the retail industry, which section they are primarily using, and more stats about that, and create a images about which section they're spending more time, and what day of the month they're spending more time, and aspects like that. So we tried out with that as well. We succeeded there, but we were not happy enough that this is going to be a big moment or big change in the industry. So we thought it is really, again, anybody can do this. There was no real stuff in there. And then we got an opportunity to get into the manufacturing. So one of our existing customer, they told us like they have one specific problem. So we went to the factory, and then we saw what all the problems. And that's when we identified quality inspection was the biggest pain for them. So we didn't want to straight away go into them and build a solution. So we actually did our research. We went to various other manufacturers. Actually, we had a great support from Stanford University. So we had some access to some of the guys there, and we took their help in reaching out to, we curated a big questionnaire about what all the problems and why that is a problem for them. What is that they are using currently, and what are the negative effects of that? How much they are losing, and what is the thing they were expecting in their product. So we did those, curated those questionnaires along with the Stanford guys, and we sent it through them. And we sent it to about, I think, 100 to 150 manufacturing companies across US and European regions. And around 86% of them had mentioned that quality inspection is their biggest challenge. And then the reason for that is because they spent a lot of money in the quality inspection in the last 10 years. And in spite of spending so much every time, they didn't get the satisfactory, ROI, basically. Not
I'm
even
sorry,
ROI.
Raj, what's the biggest problem that they're facing? Because they obviously have cameras looking for defects all of the time. Is it just that they didn't have the intelligence built into it to pick up the different types of defects? Or were they getting 90% of it right? Or like, why is this such a pressing problem for them?
Yeah. So the pressing problem was they were using technology which is about a decade old, and this technology had its own flaws. So it was not able to detect with a higher accuracy. So it had a very high false positives. So if a product is bad, it used to say as good, and if a good product is there, sometimes it used to say as bad.
Yeah.
So this kind of put the manufacturers into doubt whether they can really utilize this, or we can completely rely on this and then send the products to their customers. And they were not able to do that. So some of the customers were forced to have a secondary inspection, and that secondary inspection was either as a batch testing or a sample testing by a normal employee, basically. So manually it was done.
Yeah.
And this was consuming a lot of time for them. And it was also a time, waste of money, and then, waste of productivity as well for them. So this is the reason they were looking for a solution which they could completely rely, completely trust without having a secondary inspection. And also they wanted it to be faster, not holding up their productivity. So this is the whole problem. You can think of like, your production as a 20-lane highway and the quality as a 2-lane highway. So your production goes really fast, but when it comes to quality, it gets bottlenecked, and it slows down the whole productivity of the factory. So this is why they were looking for a solution which can streamline their entire production and then take the quality into the same speed and then send it to the customers.
I got you.
Without any defects.
I got you. So you're like, oh my God, this is huge. Like, how huge is this, Raj? Is this huge? Like, this can be a multi-billion-dollar company? Is this huge where it can be $100 million company? I mean, where are you looking to take this?
Absolutely. So we definitely saw this potential when we started our survey itself, because smart factory or industry automation or industry 4.0 is itself a $600 billion industry. So it's a huge one. So we felt that we can take our company into big, and we really wanted to have this tag of number one vision inspection company in the world. That's our focus, and we have all the elements. And we, since we had the research and then we started the product development, we actually took the experienced people from the industry who actually have worked in this vision technology, and we also have some of the guys who come from a vision background in the manufacturing, and that really helped us to understand the importance of how the lighting is going to be, or how the cameras is going to play a big role in this, all of that aspects to build the core AI. So AI is just one small portion in that, but there is a other ecosystem in the manufacturing happens, because in manufacturing is the only industry which the generic AI cannot apply. Just to give you an example, if you get into the autonomous car industry, or if you get into the security AI industry, there what happens is you have a public data set available. So anybody can create a data set and then make your model much better, because the higher the data set in the AI and quality of the data set, based on the quality of data set, you can create a great model, and it will give you a much better accuracy, basically. But manufacturing is the only industry where you cannot rely on a public data set. You have to create the data set right on the factory floor.
Nice.
And that actually has a little bit of human element. And that is why, even if, some of the large AI companies still fail having a great model. Because if your data set, what you're creating on the factory floor, if there is the issue, in the data quality of data set, then however better model you have, still the chances are that, you might fail there, basically. You may not give the accuracy what is required on the factory floor. And that was the biggest need there.
And that's a huge problem. And obviously that's $1 billion company when you crack that. And you've already started off, you've taken on some huge customers. What's been really interesting for me is watching those huge customers then not only just bring you into one factory, but then add a second one and a third one and a fourth one, which means it's not just working, but it's working great for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the case studies that, one of this large customer, I can name them, it is Schneider Electric, actually. So they, started their trials with one of their factory location. And they said that, before we entered, that they've tried with as many companies as possible, and they never had the success that they were expecting. So they were not interested to, again, invest time and money on, vision system, because they already given up. So we then told them that, what we're using is total true AI, and this is going to really change the way inspection is going to be handled in the future. So we assured them that, it's going to work for you as well.
How exciting.
So they gave us an opportunity, and the first pilot that we did for them, they were totally impressed. So the reason they were impressed was not only because, they saw how it's going to work, but actually they loved one part of it was we were able to reduce the turnaround time, which was considering, for them, they were taking for 20 products, it used to take 2 full minutes to do the inspection. Whereas what we did was we connected multiple cameras, and we, each camera was looking at 4 products in one go. So with 5 cameras, we were able to inspect 20 products in one go.
Wow.
And that was like wow moment for them. They said, we have never seen somebody doing like this. That's the words that they used. And they said, this is going to be a game changer for us, because now we were able to do the same 20 products in 2 seconds. From 2 minutes, we brought it to 2 seconds, actually. So what it means to a factory, especially in the electronics industry, is it's very important for them. Every minute is really, really critical for them, because the more, faster, the more they can produce. So I'll share one case study here. In one of a company in San Jose, they are an electronics manufacturer, contract manufacturers. And the CEO of that company told me that they actually canceled one of the orders from NASA. Mm-hmm. They said, no, they cannot take it. The reason they didn't take it, because they didn't have the capability to produce more, and they didn't want to slow down NASA's order. That means if they slow down, they can blacklist them forever. So that's the reason they said no initially, because they wanted to make sure that they have that capability or capacity to do that. But with increased speed of inspection, they were confident that that's going to allow them to take more customers. So it's not only they saw benefit with us. It's not just saving the cost in the visual inspection. It is also their productivity increasing, which means they can go for a higher business. So that's why our ROI is much faster compared to any other competitor in this industry.
Incredible. And when we talk about the traction and what's happened, it's incredible. Like your revenue just in the last quarter of this year would be 3 times your revenue for the rest of the year. Like that's how things are tracking right now.
Yeah, so we accelerated the growth from this year, so 2021 onwards. So we are seeing a great traction there. Like we have customers coming to us, through our website, through references, through channel partners, and other system integrators as well. And we are having at least 4 to 5 inquiries a month, and that is converting into an order within a month or month and a half. So that's the sales cycle that we are seeing currently, which is very fast considering the visual inspection sales cycle is generally we have seen as 3 to 6 months. It's really high in the manufacturing industries to convert. But with this, what we are able to crack, they are seeing that, and now when they have a word of mouth, it's much faster. The sales cycle is basically.
It's very exciting. And that's, by the way, what we're hearing from all of the investors we're introducing you to. I even got a phone call just before this from the Toronto Stock Exchange. And she was saying, oh my goodness, I'm so excited by what he's doing. They're going to love this up in Canada. The companies are going to be coming on and on and on. It's the perfect company to list on the Toronto Stock Exchange, quote unquote. So you have everybody listening to what you're doing, getting extremely excited. And then next year, your projections are to go for what? Another 300 to 500% growth?
Yeah. So we are looking at least the total contract value to be 9 to 10 million in the next 1 year. So
Oh,
that's what we are chasing.
come to Pappy. This is great. You see, this is what I'm saying. This is his time. This is the company to build to be the billion-dollar company. It's absolutely perfect. So I want to take us, everybody knows that the product is great. You've explained the customers really well and why those customers are really excited about the product that you're doing. You've shown us the team of people that you have with you. And am I right in saying that many of the people that were with you before are back in with you again for this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're back in with you because they know that you've never failed them, not once. Every time you've gone in, you've got an exit. And this is the one that's going to go for the big one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can see that confidence in them. And when we started this venture, they said like we are going to join you, and some of the employees are there from my first startup. So a couple of
Wow.
them today are from the first startup. My CTO is this is the third startup together for us. She started as a consultant in the first one, and the later second is together as a co-founder. And there's the second one, which she's doing as a co-founder again. So some of the team, it's all from the past startups.
Incredible. And it shows again the strength of the team and the strength of character that I mentioned earlier on today. So when you say that this is going to be the one, if somebody came in a month's time or 4 months' time and said, I'll offer you 50 million for this, what would you say?
Uh, I think we will have to tell them to wait for a year at least, or 7 to 8 months at least, because we are here to build something really big. And if we wait for 8 to 10 months, I think we might be valued at more than 100 million. So this 50 million may look smaller.
I think you will be. I think for you, this is your one. This is an Instagram moment where you have a $10 billion company there. And all that has to happen is we have to put so much fuel on this fire so we can make it a raging inferno. How many staff do you have right now, Raj?
So what we've done is like, in my previous startup, I had this experience. So we always had, India, development center, and US as our, R&D and
Mhm.
implementation center. So this has really helped us, to have a lesser burn and have a lot of R&D also, outsourced to India basically. So here in the US, we have today five staff, and in India we have about 45 people.
Fantastic. And we know that some of the best developers are in the world are over in India. And we also know that it's such a great cost center to be able to build a startup from. So you have a huge team that are pushing forward, and that your team to actually go to market are based over here. Absolutely brilliant. So I'd like to finish up if we can. Look, you've ticked every box. You're a great exited entrepreneur. You have a company which is proven out with customers not just buying it from you, but expanding it beyond that. And these are all inbound customers that are coming through. You have a market size that easily has the capability of being able to do $10 million a month in revenue. If you get to $1 million a month by next year, even if you start it by halfway through next year, that is at breakneck speed. That is like jumping by about 1,000% growth over a 12 to an 18-month period. Just for anybody who's not adding this up, this is a crazy growth. You have the background that means that it is highly likely that investors are going to throw money at you as well. So you're going to be in a great position for investors. I already believe this. I believe we'll close out your round within the next 4 weeks or so. And you're primed at a time when all of the companies need me. This means equals unicorn, 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 unicorn. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you have the wind on your back to bring this all the way through. So I want you to speak to the investors now in this last 3 or 4 minutes and just tell the investors what you intend to do, how you intend to build a company, how you're going to bring clients on, how you're going to make sure that you scale this up to become the billion-dollar company that it has the potential of being able to doing, and how you can bring back their investment versus what they would invest now versus the return that they're going to get in 4 or 5 years' time.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing is now we are in a stage where we are taking off, like we are focusing on the growth, and we have identified some of the products that we have done for automotive industry to be easy sale for us with a lesser cycle time, and that's the reason lesser sales cycle time. So that's the reason why we are very confident that we are going to close this year end with a higher revenue, and then the next year we would be doing at least 3 million ARR by end of July or August next year. So the reason why we will be able to do that is like we have identified this 5-6 different products in the automotive, aerospace, and other industry, and we're going to focus customers who are manufacturing specifically those products. And each of that product that we identified is a great ticket for at least 700 to 800K each of them. So if we don't go to any other customer and only focus on these products and and sell these products, we are good for close to 2.5 to 3 million ARR in a very shorter cycle time. So the reason why we are confident that sales cycle time will be lesser, within this 7 to 8 months is because we already have a proven case study of how it's working and what all the ROI it is giving for the customers who are already producing those. And if we show that use case to these people who are struggling with a similar kind of a story, it's going to be a quick sale there, quick kill for us. And once we do that, we want to convert, initially we are targeting 1 or 2 lines in that factory, but we are going to be taking the entire factory at least, which is going to be 8 to 10 lines. So this is the focus that we have. And another aspect is like we are not only focusing in the US, and since our product is remotely deployable and we have solutions deployed remotely and maintained remotely, so we can target other parts of the world as well. Like we have a great partnership with GAA, which is Global Automotive Alliance, based out of Zurich. They are having presence in literally in all the European countries, including Germany, France, Spain, and all these locations. And they are taking our product to deploy to these customers. So we don't have to send anybody from here. We don't have to spend on the sales and marketing budgets. They will send their sales guys to look for that opportunity, and they will do all the groundwork. And same is the case in other locations in the globe. Like one of our customer who is using this product, where we are the only solution provider for this particular product. They are our customer in different location in the world, and now they are having another factory in Japan. They want to take the same solution to Japan. So without we going anywhere, the product is getting sold and getting deployed now. So the same thing is followed in Philippines and Indonesia as well, where Schneider is having their locations and they want to use the same product there as well. So we're not just talking about one or two locations globally. We are talking about 15 to 20 locations. So if we target these locations, we are covering that 3 million ARR by June or July of next year. So we are going to be focused on growth. So which means whatever the investment is done today, we'll see a quick ROI within the 8 to 10 months. And this is the time for investors to utilize this opportunity, come and support us, be part of this growth, and see their revenue grow in a quick time.
I'm convinced. There's not a doubt in my mind what you're going to build. I can see it in front of me. I hope all other investors who are listening into this can see the same thing. If anybody needs to find out anything about Raj, anything about Lincode, whatever they're building over there, then you can contact myself at brian@expertdojo.com. And Raj, what's your email so folks can contact you as well?
Yeah, it is Rajesh@lincode.ai.
Okay. And just spell that out for people.
Rajesh@lincode.ai.
Lincode. Raj, you're a beast. I love that we've invested in you. I love that we're a part of your company. We're going to invest more in the future, like no doubt in my mind. You are a unbelievable find, a great entrepreneur. You have a fantastic product. It's absolutely your time, and we're with you there all the way. For all investors listening, get your skis on, get yourself nice and close to Raj. You want to be talking to him and digging a little bit deeper into what he's doing. But in the meantime, we're going to be going and building a unicorn. All right. Thanks, Raj.
Thanks so much, Brian.